All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Chiefs Kingdom. I think they've done a great job in the offseason. You got to keep in mind, this team won last year. They need to continue to win. What's harder than winning a championship is winning several championships, winning several rings, aka creating a dynasty. So when you look at free agency right now, when you look at just media, big time football media news, it's, oh, this team signs this guy for this amount of money. This guy signs to this team. This superstar signs here. And when we take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs, if you look at big media, not like Chiefs media, it's, oh no, the Chiefs just lost Juju. The Chiefs lose this guy. The Chiefs lose that guy. They lose this, that, and the other guy. And nobody's talking about their sneaky, great acquisition, specifically Juwan Taylor. He's the big name. I love the move, 25-year-old offensive lineman from Jacksonville. And then you have Charles Omenihu. And that might be the most slept on acquisition of the entire free agency thus far. But it's important to keep in mind, we're only 4 days in. The Chiefs were never gonna make a big time splash signing blockbuster move, or at least they weren't projected to. Their blockbuster shattering moves are Juwan Taylor and Charles Omenihu, because those are two players that fit exactly what Brett Veach is trying to establish in Kansas City. Before we get any further into tonight's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. Chiefs Kingdom, love making videos for you guys. If we could get this video to 500 likes, that would be absolutely awesome. I'm curious to hear what you guys are thinking down below. But that's like the trend I'm seeing right now is, and I wasn't thrilled about Juju. In fact, I was pretty shocked they lost Juju. We'll talk about that. But you're seeing the storylines are just, oh man, the Chiefs just won, yeah, but can they continue to win? Can they sustain a dynasty? Can they create this? They're losing all these guys. When in reality, you need to sustain the dynasty. You need young players. You don't really even want guys over the age of 28 unless they're exceptional talents, right? You want to keep your roster talented. You want to keep it young, athletic, explosive, and you also have to keep it cheap. And you have to find the snags in the market, guys who help exactly what your team is trying to establish, i.e. the Kadarius Toney trade. We are, like, Chiefs fans already know this, and a lot of other fans are starting to realize this after the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl and they saw Kadarius on a bigger scale. Kadarius Toney, if he just stays healthy, is a future superstar. And the Kansas City Chiefs is exactly where he can ascend to a superstar, and we're going to see it next season. He will be one of the best receivers in the league. He fits this team perfectly. But it's all about sustainability. That's what it's about. Juwan Taylor was a phenomenal move. The Kansas City Chiefs lost some big names on the offensive line, specifically Orlando Brown Jr. It's no surprise to Chiefs fans, and it's for a good reason. You could even get down to losing Wiley and Brown, and you could look into pressures and sacks. I know Orlando Brown improved greatly as the season went on, but those guys gave up a lot of pressures. When we take a look at Juwan Taylor, he only allowed 16 total pressures in 17 games last season. Whether he plays the right tackle, whether he plays the left tackle, it doesn't matter. He's a Kansas City Chief, and that's what's important because he's going to protect Patrick Mahomes. He's down to play wherever. The Chiefs, they'll figure it out. It's the perfect Andy Reid, this offense, it's the perfect spot for Juwan Taylor, and that's exactly why he came over. When we look at Charles Omenihu, I genuinely think, like I said earlier on in the video, I think this might be the most slept on free agent acquisition of the season, of the offseason, or at least thus far. And keep in mind, we're 4 days into it. Teams aren't done making moves. The Chiefs are going to continue to make moves. I see they're in the OBJ sweepstakes. DJ Chark, I think, could be a great acquisition for them. We'll talk about that. But specifically Charles, he played 17 games for San Francisco last year. And the big thing people are talking about is he wasn't a starter. He will be a starter on Kansas City. In just 3 starts, but he played 17 games. He had a forced fumble. He had a pass deflection for a defensive end that's talented. 4.5 sacks, 20 total tackles. But the big number is QB hits, and actually the 4.5 sacks. Because I know that number might not be, Max Crosby or Nick Bosa numbers. 4.5 sacks for a non-starter is a very big deal. He had 16 total quarterback hits last year. In fact, 2 years ago, in his final full year with Houston, where he once again wasn't a starter, he also had 16 quarterback hits that season. So that gets me back to my bigger point where it's not like I get it, the flashiness, the clicks, all of that. When you're thinking of teams signing free agents, every team wants to make a bunch of moves. Like, for example, I'm from Chicago. So it's like, I'm a Packers fan. The Packers aren't making many moves. Bears are making a ton of moves. Packers fans may want them to make more moves. Well, it's like, at the end of the day, the Packers were a good team. I think they still are a good team. That's neither here nor there. The Chicago Bears are not. The Kansas City Chiefs are a phenomenal team. So you want to add on to your weaknesses. You also want to continue to add on to your strengths. And once again, free agency in the offseason essentially just began. Brett Veach has done a phenomenal job at drafting talent, and he's going to continue to do a great job at evaluating and developing and choosing his draft picks with the bigger plan in mind. I love these last two moves because they're 25-year-old players. These are high upside, even low risk moves, if you will, because once again, this is a superstar studded team on both sides of the ball. The big concern with the Kansas City Chiefs 2 years ago was, all right, this defense needs an overhaul. We need to choose who we want to keep, but we need to do a good job in whether it's free agency or the draft, but just the offseason in general, at acquiring and also developing our talent. But we need to get younger. We need to get more athletic. We need playmakers. We need guys who complement each other. And when you even look at like the Chiefs' defense throughout the regular season, they were extremely overlooked. Like, Chiefs fans know this, but for NFL fans who didn't know this, the flaw for Kansas City last season, heading into the playoffs, even though they ended the season just nonstop winning, was their defense. The big question mark was, can this defense hold up? It's great if your offense can go out there and score a bunch of points. It's great you have MVP Patrick Mahomes, as if those things don't matter. But your defense has to get stops. And what did Kansas City's defense do? Especially what they needed to when they needed to, they got stops. That's what it comes down to. And it was a young defense. It still is a young, very promising defense. And I think Charles really helps it out. Some flaws on the offensive line with the two notable departures of Brown and Wiley. Well, guess what? This is a deep offensive line draft class. There's still free agents available. They still have their current talent, and Juwan Taylor was an exceptional move. I know, like, Jaguars fans might like to say it's an overpay. Once 1 week, 1 month of the season goes by, nobody will be saying it's an overpay. I haven't seen any Chiefs fans saying, oh man, we paid him way too much money. What were we doing? No. There's a plan in place. Brett Veach has a plan in place, and that's exactly what he's orchestrating right now. And I'm honestly just viewing it almost as one big finesse. And speaking of the Juju departure, we'll touch on this briefly. It sucked. 3 years, $33 million. It's definitely something Kansas City would have been open to paying. Don't know how the exact situation went down, but you take a look at, you still have Travis Kelce, right? You have Kadarius Toney. You have MVS. And that was actually kind of some reports we saw heading into the offseason was Patrick Mahomes is going to be thrown to pretty much the same exact cast as he did last year, which gave him, he won an MVP and gave him another Super Bowl ring. So there's not even panic there, but even if there were, I don't think OBJ is the best move for the Chiefs. Maybe DJ Chark isn't even the best move for the Chiefs. But the offseason's not done. One of those players could easily be on Kansas City by the time you watch this video. So Chiefs fans aren't panicking. It seems like the only people panicking right now is just national media trying to stir some clicks, trying to stir some controversy. It's how you sustain a dynasty. You can't be going out there and paying older players. Not that Juju is an older player, but hopefully you get my point. You got to keep it young. You got to keep it cheap. You got to keep it deep. That's the big three right there, sustaining a dynasty. And at the end of the day, you have Patrick Mahomes still. So they'll be fine. That's it for today. I'm curious to hear what Chiefs fans have to say, so let me know down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Post a ton of Chiefs videos on this channel, so once again, if we get this video to 500 likes to keep getting it, Chiefs fans and NFL fans in general, that would be much appreciated. Have a great rest of your night and a good weekend. I'll see you guys later.